Hello and welcome to the Vision Systems Design Fall Tech Summit. My name is Chris McClune. I'm the Editor-in-Chief of Vision Systems Design, and I and Dennis Sameka, our Associate Editor, appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to join us. We have a great lineup of sessions planned for you today with a mix of 30-minute and 15-minute sessions covering a wide range of topics. We hope this mix allows you to maximize your time with us today. If you miss any details from one of the sessions, you're not available to attend a given session, or want to share a session with a colleague, you can access all of the information shared on demand for 30 days after today's live event. I'd be remiss if I did not mention the supporters of the Fall Vision Systems Design Tech Summit. My sincere thanks to our sponsors, DreamView, Emergent Vision Technologies, Eurosys, Kawa, Lucid Vision Labs, Matrox Imaging, and Pleora Technologies, who have all made this event possible. All of the companies who are allowing us to provide this educational information for you are featured in the sponsors section located on the event's homepage. Please take a moment to check in with them there and learn a little bit more about them and their products and solutions by visiting the Resource Center. Before we get rolling, I have just a few housekeeping items. At the end of each session, there is a screen that will pop up asking you to fill out a quick survey. Please make sure to take this quick survey, which will help provide guidance on content for future tech summits. We take your comments very seriously and will use them to improve future summits. After filling out the survey, make sure to click on the Return to Virtual Sessions at the top right of your screen to return to the agenda and choose the next session by selecting View Session. During each session, our staff will be monitoring the event. If you do have any technical issues, please drop a note in our Q&A box located right under the video, and we will reach out to you to assist. In addition, we recommend that you close all other applications while you are attending each session to maximize performance. And now, let's kick the day off with our keynote address. Our keynote speaker today is Ron Mueller, CEO of Vision Markets. His presentation is titled From the Illumination to the Cloud, New Technological Answers to Unprecedented Customer Needs. So thank you again for joining us today. Remember to fill out the surveys, and let's kick things off with our keynote. Ron?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much for this kind introduction. And hello, everyone, and a wonderful good morning across the Atlantic or wherever you are watching this. Yeah, it's my great pleasure and honor to open today's Vision Systems Design Tech Summit. And at this point, I would also like to send credits to my friend and colleague, Jean-Philippe Romand, and his team who kindly helped me design the slide deck for this keynote today. Yeah, as you can guess from the title, this talk will be hovering on a rather macroscopic level over many things we will be dealing, or we are dealing with throughout this summit, and we are basically dealing on our daily basis. And so, as you see, we will be talking about many different things like cloud will be a subject that we look at, edge devices, and specifically vision edge devices obviously play a major role. New technologies we will touch, and a special emphasis we will put on a topic that is just so often neglected in our very technology-driven industry, which are our customer needs. So as we speak, there is a massive development going on in one of our key target industries, which is industrial manufacturing, obviously. And that development is driven by big end customers and big shop floor equipment suppliers equally. And in our consulting work, we saw that this development is already impacting major players in our industry, and they're just about to realize what's going on. So my goal today is that I want to ensure each of you is aware of this trend. I'm sure some of you are, but it's really important, I think, that as many people as possible are aware of that. And I would like to share what's driving this trend and just give you some idea how upcoming developments in our market could look like and what you can do about it, no matter if you are a component OEM or a system integrator or a machine builder or a production line builder. This trend can create big opportunities as well as threats, basically, for a number of players among us. Now, on the outline, how are we going to approach this today? First of all, I would like to give you a little bit more context, and more context than I just did before, and also explain why this keynote is relevant and current. Hence, we will be starting with a look on the customer requirements, as promised, and there you will find those typical requirements that we all have been dealing with over the past 20 years, right? And as we got better to fulfill those requirements, and as the technological progress is advancing, further requirements have evolved at our clients and are creating new challenges for us and for our ecosystem. So consequently, we will be looking at those new technical opportunities as well as the challenges that occur from them. And finally, we'll be looking at possible scenarios that can provide a solution to such challenges. So, what brings me into the position of talking about such a, like, say, rather macroscopic and in some level even political subject? My company, Vision Market, is a global market management and marketing consulting firm that is exclusively dedicated to the machine vision market. And we help our customers to grow their business by consulting services in at least one, or usually more than one or four areas, which is the strategy consulting. I think that's the key subject also which we're touching here today. It's about technology strategies, portfolio strategies, business models of our clients, and also based on our in-house market research. We are busy in M&A consulting, which fits very well to the strategy consulting and feeds well into this. And yeah, we also have help our clients globally with recruiting machine vision talents and executives, as well as with strategic and operational marketing consulting services. So as we are consulting a number of different companies, like from startups to $100 billion companies in revenue, they're sharing their challenges with us, and they're asking for advice, obviously. And throughout the last, let's say, 1.5 years, several topics have popped up in this context, and one of them obviously was deep learning, and commoditization trends, and on the component level, et cetera, et cetera. But one I found most striking, and this is what we will be talking about today in this presentation. So, reading minds is not necessarily part of the toolbox of management consultants, but certainly most helpful. And I envision you sitting at your desk now, or in your bathtub, or wherever you are at the moment, and asking you this question: why yet another talk on Industry 4.0 at the Vision Technology Conference? Yeah, maybe you're feeling or even looking like Mr. Obama here. So let me put all this into perspective. Industry 4.0 originated around 2011 from a high-tech strategy project of the German government. And this project promoted the computerization of manufacturing. So 2011, we have 2021, that's now 10 years ago. And in this project of the government, German government, they were mainly dealing with introducing computers to the shop floor, internet, making things smart, maybe with AI or without AI, and connecting things. Now, today, at this point, 10 years later, all these things have been invented already, and they have actually been invented for multiple decades. But the revolutionary idea is to introduce all these technologies into manufacturing, and the point is that now, another 10 years later, we are in a situation where the computerization of manufacturing is actually materializing. And it's materializing at a faster pace than I think a number of players in our community might be realizing. So we have now factories where sensors and actuators are connected to a cloud, through the internet, to a data center, to a processing center outside of the factory. Data is gathered and analyzed, for sure. Processes are mathematically optimized today. We have MES, like manufacturing execution systems, and ERP systems, optimizing shop floor logistics. There are ecosystems enabling managed edge devices. We will come back to that later in more detail. We have cloud-based deep learning inference that is used in real-time critical processes. We have sensor values that are stored in the cloud for audit-proof quality documentation, and so on. So these are all features which are already in the world today and are happening. But there's still, let's say, like two worlds. There's still this world that I have just described, and there is another world where production managers are asking you to label your industrial PCs not as PCs, but as processors, so that they can get around the IT department and they can get rid of the hassle and time delays that occur when they are getting involved in such a project. But generally, the trend is clear, and the question is, how can we simplify the life of our customers with and without, but rather with the IT department, and help them optimize their production in a fast, simple, and cost-effective way. Now, as I said before, my team and I are constantly tracking the technical advancements in our industry and our target industries, and in line with that, we have been walking over the shop floor at the Vision Show in Stuttgart. That's exactly now 1 month ago. And yeah, it was great, obviously, to meet everyone in person and have a live meeting, and it's I can't wait to get that come back, so to say, and then get back to that normal. But at that show, we found, let's say, a number of amazing things, like also things that will be covered today, like CXP12, higher frame rates, higher resolution, multispectral imaging, event-based imaging, a ton of like startups and offerings around deep learning and all of that. But at the same time, we have seen a trend towards ease of use, which is important for our customers, and such, for example, to ease of use of software, of smart cameras, to make the programming of that cameras more let's say, easy and faster. However, what we saw is in the majority of all these offerings, the focus was on programming a single item seen as a single encapsulated unit on a shop floor itself, and not as an item that needs to be integrated in an environment of a computerized and centrally managed factory, or in an environment where each item in a factory is connected, and an environment of multiple connected factories. So virtually all these products were not designed as devices that can be monitored and managed from a central factory management system. They can still only be programmed or configured when directly connected to a PC with a dedicated license, not through IT servers, not to speak about a cloud interface. Yet this is what our customers are demanding today. And from our projects with big automation players and other end users, we are hearing that because of the total cost of ownership, because of inflexibility and missing edge management capabilities, such cameras, smart cameras, and devices are designed out of manufacturing landscapes because they are replaced by alternative solutions which enable and fulfill the requirements. So again, there are wonderful things going on. We have faster bandwidths of interfaces. We have higher sensor resolutions, higher frame rates, more powerful deep learning algorithms. That's all great. But what our customers are looking for is something different, and this is why I think this talk is important for us today here. So let's see about like these new and old paradigms of manufacturing automation. That means where we are coming from. Yeah. So the big four obviously are still the predominant factors. So the big four are quality, output, cost, flexibility. That's still the fact, and it will not change. But they, especially the last two, need to be seen a little bit on a different angle compared to the way it has been 5 or even 10 years ago. So flexibility now also needs to be seen not just as the capability to answer consumer demands for many variants and accelerated product life cycles, but also as capability to react on considerably increased levels of uncertainty. And with uncertainty, I mean the availability of workforce due to, let's say, a general shortage of skilled workers in a certain area, or through pandemic events, as we have recently seen, as well as the varying availability of components due to the semiconductor crisis that we see right now. And that's critical no matter if you build a car or a cell phone or home appliances. This level of uncertainty is what customers are struggling with. And this leads to manufacturers building multiple factories in different economic regions of the world. And instead of each factory being optimized on a specific product range, those factories are designed in a redundant manner so that one issue in one factory can be compensated by a redundant factory that is take over the production load from the other. Now, if you put yourself in the shoes of a customer, to make that happen and to keep the cost on a manageable level, the production managers are obviously looking for a standardization of applied technologies and components, and that not just within one factory, but across multiple factories. And this trend again puts an even higher priority on the reduction of effort to set up a manufacturing line, as well as to adopt and update it. I mentioned here liability risk, which is just one example of increasing regulatory constraints that require producers to stay compliant with legal frameworks. Another thing that we will just be touching briefly today is the CO2 footprint. So you will be finding yourself in future discussions with purchasing departments where you are trading CO2 footprint and power consumption of your devices against cost. But this is something which we will not go into further details. If you want to know more about this, then please reach out to us at any time. Now let's look about the key technical functionalities to fulfill those customer requirements. Again, these requirements might sound a lot like wishful thinking, but in fact, many startups, small OEMs, but especially also big players are coming up with technological answers to such requirements. And for the increase of the product quality and the process optimization, especially the, let's say, cloud, and we can discuss what that actually is considered kind of the Swiss Army knife, and rightly so. So there are many wonderful things you can do the more information you have accumulated in one place about your manufacturing processes. The one you might have heard most about is like the logistics automation. If you know which parts are used in your assembly lines and you can ensure the supply of further parts fully automatically, for example, by AMRs, that was just recently the show in US, or also like traditionally by co-workers, you're filling up the part supply once the MES system tells them to, tells the AMRs, controls the AMRs or the workers. Another feature that has made its way from research to operation is the statistical data analysis for predictive maintenance and the discovery of opportunities for process optimization. I think most of you have read and heard about that quite some time. Something that's relatively new and maybe the cloud feature that I find most fascinating is the real-time data analytics. Because if you have real-time data and you apply statistical analysis with or without AI on this real-time data, you're suddenly in the position to detect anomalies in your processes. So if a machine takes longer than it used to be, or if an assembly process takes longer than it usually does, you can detect issues on the shop floor, even if you're sitting in the high tower of the management, so to say, level, And you can make sure that you have full transparency of what's going on, and you can have a very early opportunity to jump in before major things occur. And that's also a new area, a new application area of machine vision, where cameras are not inspecting products only anymore, or guiding actuators or something like that, but they're also monitoring the shop floor equipment, monitoring the machines, monitoring AMRs, monitoring people on the shop floor. So that is all what feeds into this real-time data analytics. Now, at the moment, where you have rich amount of sensor data, and think of vision systems, like this means not just the result of a product is within its tolerances, or the relevant, not just this to say measured information is relevant, but also the image data itself shall be transferred to the available data storage of the cloud, and that allows then also for an audit compliant documentation of an entire manufacturing process, which is very helpful to defend and against liability risks if you can prove that your whole process was compliant with the regulatory requirements and that the piece in every single step, like the product was manufactured in every single step correctly. The other end, and actually the other edge of this equation is what's called managed edge devices. That's also like a very powerful tool to make the life of customers easier. And managed edge devices summarizes a class of edge devices that can be constantly monitored. And monitored if they are working or not, if in which mode they are, if they are, that allows for the smooth integration with other devices and also a smooth integration with the cloud. These devices can be configured from servers or even from the cloud. They provide rich data output, and like all these IT features are integrated aside the real-time critical OT, so the operational technology, in such devices. And as you can imagine, all this requires a pretty powerful IT connection between these edge devices and the cloud. So fair enough. To make all this happen, factories, and even more so multiple factories, require a corresponding system design. Here you see a very simplified chart. Let's say we start with the cloud. The cloud is connected to the factory gateway. Behind the gateway or under each gateway, there are multiple servers. Each server is connected to controllers and PLCs. And then finally, we are at the level where we feel comfortable and where we are coming from, the vision systems, the actuator systems, and further sensors. So just checking the animation. Now, not to forget, this dark gray area is the area which is real-time critical. So that is where the OT is happening. But still, each controller, each processor, and even depending on the setup, illuminations and cameras need to be connected to the server, either directly, and that's actually what's happening today through some very funny plugins where you can connect cameras and whatever through wireless servers and APs to servers. But or you can integrate that through into the OT and make sure that the processors and controllers not just allow the real-time critical process optimization and the process performance, so to say, but also the IT connection to the servers. Now, that, as you can imagine, is creating a pretty massive challenge for end customers. Just to make sure that we get this right. Each single box that you see here is, in our world, most of the time, one supplier. So there are different supplier for the camera, a different supplier for the illumination, a different processor supplier, and so on and so on. Each line that you see here is representing an interface type. And usually there is one integrator per system, or at least one integrator per layer that is required to make all that work. And that goes on the very start on the very right and goes all the way up on the left side, where the cloud services need to be integrated with the interfaces to the PLM, to the MES, and deep learning frameworks, and so on. So another key challenge here is this, as I just mentioned, this heterogeneous edge devices. So that's basically the foundation of the business model of many system integrators. That's because it's relatively complicated to put together and connect these types of devices and actuators. This is where system integrators come into play. Another big thing, obviously, is the subject of cybersecurity. So on the factory gateway, at the point where the factory is connected to the internet, this is the most attractive point, obviously, for criminals to destroy and sabotage a certain factory. Then you have the bandwidth limitations, and finally, as you see here, the limitations here in the bandwidth can be solved through many different ways. One of them, obviously, being a compression on an early level here on a system level. But again, that's something which needs to be solved. And finally, you have the data privacy. So how can those be solved? And how can those challenges be answered? On the on-premise cloud and the industrial cloud, there are versions of cloud, so to say, that can be locally installed or are specifically layouted for industrial purposes. The edge compression is another big thing, which, as I just mentioned, can reduce the bandwidth, and it's actually crucial. Cybersecurity, again, you have the on-premise cloud as a solution, but also the AI-supported cyber defense, where new technologies are evolving. On the heterogeneous edge areas, you see standardized interfaces, and I mean, we can go a lot about existing standardizations like OPC UA and so on, but still, these interfaces are, or these standards are just, so to say, on the presentation layer, if ever, and are having not a big impact on the application layer so far. And then the big question is, how can we get a hand on this zoo here of different integrators and suppliers? Now, I would like to share three possible evolutionary scenarios. And if you, so I just want to go through this very quickly in light of time, and please reach out to us if you want to know more about this. One option is that you have one big player that does it all. We have one opportunity where an IT and OT cloud platforms are provided and people are feeding into that platforms. And the third level is that ecosystems are evolving where people are teaming up together to consortia and develop their own ecosystem and keep that flexible and make customers work with this. Each of that has its own charm, so to say, and if you want to hear more about this, then please, if you have solutions where you think they fit well into such ecosystems, or if you would even have a platform that can serve as into such ecosystem, please reach out to us. If you are looking for partners to build or expand your ecosystem, then also please reach out to us. We're happy to support you there. And if you don't have anything like this in this respect, then please just also reach out to us, and we will be happy to support you in finding opportunities and fighting threats that might occur. Thank you very much. And yeah, Chris, over to you.
Okay, thank you again, Ron. Again, we have our survey that will be popping up for you to take. Please take that survey. We take your answers very, very seriously. Remember to click Return to Virtual Sessions after filling out the survey to return to the agenda and to choose the next session by selecting View Session. We will see you soon at high fidelity 3D scanning using multiple profilers. Ron, again, thank you for joining us from Europe today, and have a great day, everybody.